Oliver here is a little bit of a growly dog at times. Spike. Come here. Spike. So Spike won't even come over because he growled at him a minute ago. Now, I think in his case, he's growling because he thinks that he's trying to control things. I don't think he really had a lot of rules and structure, and he was the only dog. Now he has to share his guardian with a new child, and we have another dog that's in the environment as well. And I think he's a little bit still trying to hold on to his position as the exclusive dog or the top ranking dog. And I think the lack of rules and structures confused him into thinking that he needs to be responsible for the humans. That's added a lot of pressure and stress for him. So in this video, what I want to do is I want to talk about, he actually was sitting up on the back of the couch, which gives the dog more status than the human. So we asked him to get down, and once we did that, he kind of lost it and went under. He was hiding under the couch. I didn't want him to be shut down for that. I would pet for that as well. I had the guardian pull him out and put him on my lap. As soon as he did that, and the other dog walked near where he was, he growled at the other dog. Now the other dog is 5 times the size. He could take him easily, but this is a good example of how just because size is not always the thing, it's your confidence level. So in this video, I wanted to talk about some of the signs that we're going to look for and how we're going to deal with Oliver if he gets persnickety. So first of all, let's talk about the signs and the signals a dog can give to another dog. Signs of stress can include licking of the lips. They can also lick their lips for no reason. But if you see the dog licking its lips, that's generally can be a sign of stress. Staring. Especially staring from the side. Especially if you see a lot of white in the eye, we call that whale eye. That's a big sign. That's a big communication. If Oliver's walking around and then he sees Spike gets up and do something and Oliver stops and just freezes, even if Oliver's or Spike's over here, he's not looking directly at him or staring at him, but he freezes, that's a big communication as well. So then at that point, I would be ready, and I might hiss at Oliver. I might stand up and get in between the dogs. So you need to, just like any argument, if you stop people from having an argument right at the get-go, usually you can get them buying beers at the bar at the end of the, within a short period of time. If you let them, a bar fight doesn't typically just start out as a bar fight. One guy like bumps into the other guy's accidentally walking to the bathroom, or bumps into his girlfriend and he sees it. And then he sees him like staring at his girlfriend, and then they stare at each other. And one of them like interprets something, and then another buddy does something. There's usually 5 or 6 things that happen before the actual fight happens. And so that's kind of what's going on with the dog. I'd like to see if we can get Spike to come over here while he's here on my lap, and we'll work on that probably a little bit off camera. But if you can recognize what your dog's signs are and then start interceding the very first sign, most people don't react to a dog fight until the actual fight occurs, and that's way too late. People ask me all the time, how do you stop a dog fight? I'm like, I don't know. I prevent it from starting in the first place. So now if it does happen, go for the dog's back legs. If he's the instigator and he's on the other dog, I would grab him by his back legs to pull him away. A lot of times if you reach in between, you'll get bit with friendly fire. If you pull them by the back legs, usually the dog will turn around to see what's grabbing them, and that will give them pause. Now, since he growled at his guardians when they asked him to get off the couch, that's going to take a little bit of time before that gets to be the case. Let me see. Other signs of stress. Hackles, the hair here standing up and here standing up, not necessarily a sign of stress. He's trying to make himself look bigger. Ears rotating forward or going as far back as they possibly can could also be signs to look for. Heavy breathing, or like I said, holding of the breath, can be independent of the freezing and movement. But those are all signs that I would look for out of Oliver. If I see those from him, then I'm going to be, observing him and keeping my eye on him to make sure that nothing escalates. Now, if he's moving and all of a sudden he stops and he's looking at Oliver, he's kind of looking at Oliver's direction, Oliver's probably communicating. So then I would turn my gaze to Oliver and see, is Oliver staring at me? If Oliver is, then I would hiss at him. Do a redirect exercise like the focus exercise we just got doing. Do something along those lines to snap him out of it. But standing, if you yell, don't get in a fight, sometimes that will be the trigger that causes things to happen. You gonna take this from me? There you go, good job, buddy. So standing up and putting yourself in between the two dogs when they're at a distance can be a good way to do it. Don't do it in a loud, fast movement, because sometimes that will also be the spark. Get up, silently move in between them, put the dog that is challenging in front of you, the other dog behind you. And if I have to, I might use that third consequence and march at Oliver and make Oliver leave the area. If he's not doing anything wrong and he's growling at him because he's getting near his stuff or near his area, and you don't disagree, anything the dog is doing when you If you don't disagree with it, you're agreeing with, if I can say speak properly. So you have to let him know that is not to be tolerated. I'm willing to stop what I'm doing and make sure that you get that you change that behavior. Now for dogs, really the worst punishment for them is to be excluded from the group. So what I might do is move him away if he won't stop. Now I also might put him on a leash if he's growling and give that leash time out, because the leash can help psychologically help the humans feel more comfortable. Because if I have him on a leash and I'm stepping on a leash and it's wrapped around my foot once, I know if he lunges at him, he won't be able to get to him. And that confidence will help me assume a more confident body posture and project confidence myself, which will help him feel more confident and help him take a little bit out of him, because he's like, oh, they're on top of it and they are very assertive and sure of themselves. But if you're really timid and soft about it, I'm gonna ignore because they don't really mean it. Now, dogs also have something called calming signals. If a dog turns its head aside and yawns, that can be a calming signal. That can be a way of saying either I'm stressed out or, man, you're freaking me out. You need to calm down. Something else they'll do sometimes, they scratch the ground. They'll sniff the ground. Those are also calming signals. So if you see your dog doing some of those things, either dog, probably more coming from him, then you might see that he's trying to influence his behavior in a good way. There's a good book it's called Calming Signals. It's a very easy to read book. You don't have to be clinical. It's, I'm probably going to pronounce her name wrong. It's Turd Regas, I believe it's how it's pronounced. She's, I think in Sweden or Scandinavia, but she noticed that her dog could have a positive influence on other dogs by how it, another thing it could do is lift its leg, it almost looks like the dog is pointing. That could mean you can approach me, or hey man, you need to calm down and relax a little bit. So she has a book and she has a DVD set. Actually, if you go to dogwise.com, you can order the book and DVD set, and you get to watch the video of seeing her dog doing these things with these other dogs. And then you can see some things to look for. I mentioned earlier in the session that I taught one of my dogs to stretch on command. Stretching puts the dog in a play bow position, which is also I believe a calming signal. It's related to it. But also teaching your dog to yawn. Every time my dog yawns, I pet him and I say the word, and I say yawn. I want to be able, because this dog's going to help me rehabilitate other dogs. He's still a puppy now, but every time he yawns, I reward him for that, because I want to be able eventually, if a dog like Oliver is growling at him or staring at him, my dog can go, and enough times that can help Oliver relax himself. So sometimes, if you see him sniffing the ground or scratching at the ground, you might want to say scratch and sniff. Do them together. But that way we can help him develop some calming signals, which could actually help him stop being trying to be so bossy. And also because he's submissive, that's going to cause him to be a little bit more dominant. So there are things you can do. He seems to be a very smart dog, Spike is. So I would try to teach both of them some more commands. Teaching dogs commands does a couple things. Yeah, big exhale. He's relaxing. Teaching the dog commands does a couple things. First of all, it helps us respect our guardians because they're teaching us. They're in the instructor position. We boost their self-esteem because just like us, when dogs master a new skill, they feel a sense of pride about themselves. And especially for him, we can boost his confidence enough where he doesn't feel so intimidated by him. And if he feels more confident, that will help him feel less dominant. But the main thing is going to be really enforcing rules consistently and understand it's not being mean. He bumped his head on the table when we asked him to get off the couch, but he also was nipping and growling at the guardian. So that he's not going to give it up without a fight. But if we use the pillow, if we have to when we're moving him off the couch, we have to let him know, look, you're getting off the couch. I'm not intimidated by you. I'm not high. I'm not low. I am zero. And you're not influencing my behavior, but what you're doing is not allowed. I'm not going to be angry with you. I'm not going to spank you, but I'm not going to tolerate it. So if we have to, we could put him on the leash. If we need to. Another consequence you might want to do is consider putting a leash. We have stairs. I'm guessing this is a duplex. I'm guessing it's the opposite over there. Just get a leash that's tied around to the bottom of that of the staircase step. And if he's being a nuisance, you take him over there, attach him to the leash. Then he can go all around the room, and he knows just as long as he stays away 6 feet radius away from Oliver, Oliver can't get to him. That will help boost his confidence. Now, this is contraption-based training. I would prefer to have you guys more interceding and correcting. They're buddies when there's no people around or if they're on walk, so we can get there. I think it's just a resource guarding scenario. Now, we'll talk a little bit off camera about resource guarding because I don't think it's actually truly resource guarding. I think it's more of a domination sort of thing. But looking for these signals and knowing what to watch for can go a long ways towards preparing you and helping you intercede before a fight actually happens. So again, the book that I would recommend, it's called Calming Signals, and I would get the Calming Signals DVD set and book, so you can read about it and it's great, but if you can actually watch it, you can start seeing a lot more of the details. Just knowing what to look for, like I said, a lot of times will help you head off the problem before it actually occurs.